I think as you say, they just raised interest because everybody now wants to know what is it that those people have to say that my government wants to prevent me so desperately from hearing. And I think that's the amazing thing. Totalitarian system, when it has to act and enforce repression, with every time they're enforcing repression, it's getting weaker. So our chance to beat this new leftist, multiculturalist totalitarianism is to force it to radicalize itself, to let the mask drop and to force them to enact repression. And it only works when people are stopped to suffer in silence.
And you see, you will run into a problem with this idea, and I tell you why, because it happened before, and it happened to the communists back in the 70s in Germany. Back in the day, they were in a conservative setup and they perceived it as very oppressive. If it is up to argumentation, and if our system right now is authoritarian, is also up to discussion. We can discuss that, but it's not the point right now. The thing is, and why I tell you that is about methods. And yeah, I have to say something else. I don't like generation identity all too much. I don't like Martin all too much. But some of the stuff he says makes sense, and in some of the things we agree, especially if we talk about Islam. I think we have different approaches to that, and we have different reasons, but we both don't like Islam, and well, the foe of my enemy is my friend, so what the hell, I give you friendly advice. So just research of what the communists did in the 70s. And one of the things is they were quite successful, but they went on two branches on the same time. The one branch was the version of Ulrike Meinhof. Ulrike Meinhof was pretty much the idea that they had to provoke the state to let the mask drop, that everybody can see that this is an authoritarian regime. And this is pretty much what you suggested right now. How does it work? Well, first you say things and you do things, and the state will oppress you, and everybody can see that they oppress you. At some point the state will understand that this is counterproductive and will stop that. So now you have a problem. If you go on Stephansdom and reenact one of your games there and do as if you were ISIS terrorists and kill people, and nobody reacts anymore, what do you do then? Well, you have to shift in the next gear, so you do something like you buy a BB gun, a BB Kalashnikov or something like that, and go to some leftist event, and then they will arrest you, and then you can say I didn't do anything wrong because this is according to law and it's not an offense, and they oppress me, blah 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 blah. But if you go down that way, that's a slippery slope. You have to provoke even more and even more and even more, and then you are there where the RAF was in the 70s. They start to rob banks and so on as a provocation. This way did not work. It was counterproductive. The way that worked was the way of Dutschke. Rudi Dutschke, with his long march through the instances, were successful. It took 40 years, but they were successful. What did they do? They infiltrated each and every political party. They said, go to the next political party, go in, work with them, and try to get to the top, and when you are on the top, dissolve them, dissolve the state, dissolve everything. So a lot of people swallowed their disgust and went to the socialists, they went to the Christian Democrats, they walked into each and every of these parties. And this is how you do that. You infiltrate the structure. You can't fight the state from outside the state. It does not work that way. It just does not work. You will alienate a lot of people who would go with you down the path. What you have to do is to seek out allies. You have to seek out allies and you have to work with them productively. You can't rely just on activism and on provocation. It does not work that way. Because we have to learn from others, and who is better to learn than an enemy who was successful? This is the best teacher. So your idea that you have to provoke the state, that the state will drop its mask and so on, leads on a slippery slope, leads on a dark place, or it leads to a dead end. It will not work. You can go down the road of Ulrike Meinhof. You have to go down the way of Rudi Dutschke. It hurts, it's unnerving, it's disgusting, but that's the way to go. And I don't think you will go this way, because I don't think you will ever see this video, but who cares? I did my job, I gave out my friendly advice to the enemy of my enemy, and that's about it for today. Thanks for watching, like, share, subscribe, send it to Martin, perhaps he watches it, and if you do, Martin, and you want to talk, since you're living more or less in my neighborhood, perhaps we'll find a way to talk to each other. So, again, thanks for watching, and have a wonderful day.